What is happening, everybody? My name is Beth, and welcome back to Every Day is Spooktober. Now, today is a very special review. We're not only talking about one film, but we're also talking about another. And obviously, as you can tell, we are talking about Scream 5 and Scream 6. As I'm sure the internet is aware, Scream 6 has just been released in theatres across the UK and everywhere else. And I was like one of the first people to watch it. I did a double bill screening of Scream 5 and 6. Just for some backstory before we kind of get into the review of this. I'm a huge Scream fan. I absolutely adore the franchise. Number 1 has to be my favourite, and number 4 has to be my second favourite, and then probably second and then third. That's just my preference of the films. Since these new ones have come out, I will not lie, I'm not trying to offend or upset anyone, but this new sort of era of Scream that we have, I'm not the biggest fan of, unfortunately. I think the originals are just better, and I think it's just like with anything, the more you sort of remake or make of something, it's going to eventually lose its spark, its flair, everything that's really good about it. You're just gonna lose that. We've seen this happen with other franchises. For example, Halloween. Obviously, Halloween is just a gem on its own. But obviously, we had the sort of reboot of the franchise, and it didn't do massively well. And I don't think 5 and 6 have massively complemented this franchise, in my opinion. So I watched Scream 5 last year in theatres when it came out, and I thought it was alright. I wasn't in love with it. It was nice. I was excited, definitely, because obviously it'd been a really long time since we had a Scream film come out, and I loved how we brought all the sort of original cast back and reminisced and talked about the past few films in it, which I thought was good. And then with this one, I think we've just gone down a completely different tunnel, and I just don't even know where this franchise is going anymore, because for me it's now starting to ruin what was started, and I hate that. Let's just talk about it, guys. We have a lot to say. So obviously Scream 5, I think it's better than Scream 6. I'm just gonna say that. I think Scream 5, having sort of the original cast come back. So we obviously have Dewey, we have Sydney, and we have Gail Weathers. We obviously focus on a different story, and this story is obviously being that Sam Carpenter is the daughter of Billy Loomis, which is sort of the core idea of the fifth one, is that, because of who she is, it's messed up a lot of her family history. And because of who she is, someone is after her to kill her, blah, 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 blah. I think Scream 5 was alright. I know for a lot of people want different things when it comes to this franchise. People want the same thing. People want the same sort of structure. Other people want, something new, something exciting, different characters, different storylines. Like, everyone's different. For me, I just wanted to see the original cast. Like, if we could bring everyone back, I would absolutely love it. It's very nostalgic for me. Scream is a film I watched when I was so young, and it's several years old, and like, I feel like we owe Wes Craven, a good sort of comeback, and that's what I was hoping from Scream 5. And I really wanted this film to be more about the original cast and where they are at now, because we've never really had a big pause in the franchise. But instead, we focus so much on Billy Loomis's daughter and her family and her friends. It was like just trying to be really relevant with just the time that it is now. And I'm completely aware that that's what these films do. They try to stay relevant. They discuss horror. They're like commentaries on horror, and that's just how these films are. And obviously you have to make it relevant, and I think it did. But I just don't think that Scream works in today's society. I think it's too cringy. I think it's too over the top, and like we've also seen Scream's films so many times, so I feel like you really have to do something quirky, different out there to really grab like the viewer's attention. And I just think like with Scream 5, don't get me wrong, like it followed the very similar pattern. I love that we like the end fight scene is like back in Stu's house. Like, I love that, like, that we're incorporating sort of original film ideas and bringing that to more the present, which I think it worked, and I think it was fun. I just think one of the biggest things for me is like every every character was a bit cringy, every character like overacted. And I also think that, for example, when at the end, when we find out who the killers are, like for example, like Richie, I think he like massively overacts when he is revealed as the killer, because as soon as the killer is revealed, they have to completely change their persona and act like they're a serial killer. Because I mean, to be realistic, yes, that would be the case. That obviously pretending to not be the killer, but at the same time, like as soon as the masks come off, the acting is just way over the top, and it's cringy, and it's just stupid, and it's just silly to watch, in my opinion. It's not believable anymore, and I just think the way that it's done and the dialogue, I just think that it doesn't have the same shocking reveal, shocking effects. The killers are very easy to identify before we're even halfway through the film, because it hints at it so much. Whereas I think in the first few Scream films, they do a really good job of pinpointing who's done it or who the killer is on every single character without giving too much away. This film is harder to, I think, show and make it a mystery and make it how it was. I think it's very hard to do that in today's society now, because we all have seen it all, we know already, we know how things work, we know how things happen, and it's easier to kind of work out maybe who's done this, who's done that, and the big plot twist at the end of these films about who the killers are. So yeah, Scream 5 for me was okay. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. I hated that Dewey died. I didn't think he needed to die at all. I don't think any of the OG cast needed to die. I think they were all fine where they were. But yeah, I rated Scream 5 a 4 out of 10. Not super happy with the film, like I said, and the lowest rated Scream film that I've seen, obviously, which is sad. And then let's move on to Scream 6. I know the biggest thing with Scream 6 is a lot of people were wondering why it's not set in Woodsboro anymore. So it's like, this isn't going to have the same effect. How is this going to work? And number two, they're in New York, which is a major freaking city in the US, and like, just for me in general, this setting, it just didn't fit Scream. It just didn't fit it at all. You're in a major city, you're in New York City, and I'm aware things like this can happen, but it just makes it so much more silly, like unrealistic. Like, how are you fine if you're in a small town like Woodsboro was, then fine, but we're not in that situation. We're in a massive city. It takes so long to find people, it's harder to track things down, and it's harder to like be on someone's case and like be sneaky, and like it just changes the complete sort of goal and aim of the movie, which is to obviously track down certain people because of their history. We're still focusing on Sam and Tara, and obviously like Tara's trying to like move on with her life and like go to college and like move on from everything that happened, and Sam's still really wrapped up in everything because she kind of still feels haunted by obviously Billy being her father. Obviously Dewey's not coming back because he's dead. Sydney didn't come back, she didn't want to, and the only person we have was Courtney Cox, who died in this one. Spoiler alert, I think her death, first off, we're just going to start with her death. Her death was just like so shit. Like, I can't believe how she died. Her death was so like boring, and it was a big deal, but like they didn't make it a big deal, and she wasn't, I don't know, like they didn't really embed her character into the story very much, and it was very weird how like she was just popping up in New York and like seeing Sam again and like going through all this. Like, I didn't like how they embedded her character, and I think Gail had I think she had just a way better life, and they should have showed that. I think that the way they sort of put her embedded with the rest of the cast in the script, it just didn't work for me, and I don't think she should have died. She should have survived, so now the only survivor is now Sydney, which is just like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. We need like the awesome three back, whatever, like the Dewey, Sydney and Gail, we need them back. We need them back. They're a group. They stay together. No one gets killed. That first off was like, it just really annoyed me. I didn't think she deserved to go, and I didn't think she deserved to go out the way that she did. Another thing as well is you know, they were trying to like, again with the fifth one, they were trying to make this one so relevant. They were trying to incorporate flashbacks and memories from all the other films. We obviously have Kirby coming back, and she's like an FBI agent. You know, it was cool to see her again, but like I don't think she had much input in the film. And I just hate that we have like stars of like the other amazing films like supporting the new cast. Like I don't, like for me anyway, like I don't particularly love the new cast. Like I love the old cast, and that's what a lot of fans, including myself, want to see. Like I want to see Stu come back. Like I don't care how you do it. I want to see these people come back because they were so great. And I think a lot of these people that died and were killers and you know got killed off, like I think they deserve more screen time. I think they were so good. I want to see more of them, but it's like unfortunately like we just stuck with this new cast of people. Once again, I thought the acting was very cringy, and I think like it was a bit over the top, and a lot of things didn't make logical sense, and I was like, I don't particularly like this. Obviously at the end of the day, we find out that the motive of the killers is literally connected to Sam and her ex-boyfriend, who obviously tried to kill her in the fifth one, and it's his family coming back to kill Sam because she killed their son. I thought that was kind of a low blow because like no offense, but like I don't care about Richie. Like his character was like kind of boring in the fifth one. Like of course it was the boyfriend, like have you not seen the original? He was the killer. But yeah, I just think that, don't get me wrong, there was some really cool deaths. They were very creative, they're very bloody, and I love a good death in films. I love a good bloody death. It's fun. But at the same time, like, you know, there was just something missing about it. And I think because it was in such a public place, it was in such a major city, it just felt very off, because it's like it's so much scarier, and you know, it creates more tension and build when you're in a smaller town, because you can be on edge 24/7. But when you're in a major city, he shouldn't know where you, like the killer shouldn't know where you are half the time. You're on like one other side of the city to the other. Like this is what I mean. Like I think the setting really threw myself and other people off. But I did not like Scream 6. I thought it was the weakest of the franchise. You know, it was very boring at times. There wasn't a ton of action going on. It was more about like bonding Sam and Tara's relationship, which at the same time I don't particularly care. Will they make another one? Probably. And will I watch it the next one? Probably not. This sixth one has just completely sort of cut off my interest for the Scream franchise, and I'm afraid that if I watch another one, my judgment of Scream in general is just going to go down the toilet. Like it's really affecting the way that I look at Scream now, these remakes, and it's really upsetting that like it's like an easy cash grab for filmmakers, but it's like you're just ruining it. Like, okay, fair enough, you tried with the fifth one, it wasn't amazing, you tried, but now you're doing it again, and if you do it again and again and again, like it loses its spark, it loses its horror aspects, it loses everything that Scream is, I think, if they keep making more. I rated Scream 6 a 3 out of 10, and many people may think that's very, very low. Don't get me wrong, it was a well put together film, well shot, you know, cool wardrobe, like fun ideas, love all like the linking back to the past and like bringing Kirby back, but unfortunately it just story wise and like substance wise, like I wasn't engaged, I wasn't super entertained throughout, like I was bored. And I guessed who the killer was fairly soon into it, and it just doesn't make these films fun anymore when it's not playing on your mind who is who. It's just very sort of obvious and on the nose, and you're like, okay, well I knew that already. So yeah, that is my, I guess, little review / chat about Scream 5 and 6. Let me know what you guys thought of both Screams. Do you disagree with me? I would love to know what people thought. Like I said, it's just not for me, this modern side of Scream. I prefer the old school OG first couple Screams. I think they were brilliant in their own way, and they should just stay like that, and we should put 5 and 6 to bed. I don't care if Jenna Ortega is in it. She's a good actress, don't get me wrong, but, you know, I think she is very much the face of this franchise at the moment. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you on the next one.